Years ago, I was out in Alaska doing my time for clinical pastoral education, which is basically a time to learn about hospital chaplaincy. And it's typically a requirement for seminarians, and it's typically after your first year in seminary. So this was my summer after my first year going out to Alaska and serving in this hospital. Now, at the end of this program, we had something unusual, something I haven't seen before or since. Our leader for the program decided that we should have a graduation ceremony, which seemed odd since the vast majority of our group were people who were going on to continue their formal education in theology. Now, this ceremony was very long and unfortunately very dull. And part of that was it wasn't really about us. It wasn't really about the one we were serving. In fact, God wasn't mentioned at all during the service. There was one moment where a divine slipped out, and the person who said it almost with an air of uncertainty, an air of fear at having uttered that, which was very strange because while we were an interfaith group, the vast majority of the group were Christians. And the only one who wasn't was a rabbinic student. So all of us would have been fine with hearing the word God, or at the very least, Lord. Again, this ceremony is something I haven't seen in any other CPE program. No, it was a ceremony there merely to stroke the mentor, the director for the program's ego. And that's really all we got out of it. That's why it was long and dull and boring. Ceremony that's only about ourselves and not about God is a waste of time. It's nothing but purposeless noise. And that's what we hear in the gospel today, in the gospel according to Matthew. That what our ritual is about is not ourselves. Our ritual is about God. It's about connecting with God. And everything that we gain from that ritual, from that worship, comes not from us, but from God. For that reason, we aren't called to make a spectacle, as Jesus reminds us in the gospel. We're merely called to do the work, to pray, because it's not about us. It's about our connection with God. It's so easy to make Lent about the outward signs. It's so easy to let it devolve into what we are giving up during this time, or even what we're taking on during this time. It's easy to leave this service that we're celebrating here today with a sign marked on our heads, simply as a sign of our piety, so that others know how faithful we are out there in the world. But that's not what this day, that's not even what this season is about. Lent is about preparing ourselves so that we can more fully celebrate the death and the resurrection of our Lord Jesus Christ that will come during Holy Week and Easter. That death, that resurrection, that's the principal act of Jesus in this world. It's the principal focus of our faith. It's about renewing and restoring. That's what those moments are about, renewing and restoring our relationship with God. They're about connecting us back to our Lord in a powerful and deep way. What we have to ask ourselves always is, in our worship, is our worship about that relationship? Are we making it about our relationship with God? Or do we have a more self-indulgent reason for our ritual, for our worship? Lent is a time where we can ask ourselves these questions, where we can start to ponder them as we move to be closer and closer to our Lord Jesus Christ. We have to ask ourselves in this time, why are we doing what we're doing? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Is it the right thing for me to be doing? Is it helping me? Whatever my worship, whatever my ritual, whatever I may be giving up or taking on during this time, is whatever I'm doing helping me to move closer to God?